What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning on in. In this one, we have another episode of our Launch Monitor Statistics series. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is going to be the most confusing one I'll probably ever do. It is quite difficult, so if you need to pause the video where you need to, let's do that. Get a pen and paper, make some notes, and we'll work through this together. But in this one, we are diving into face to path. Let's get right into the video. Face to path is the difference between your face angle and your club path. So I wrote addition in this, but I don't think that ever actually applies because it is truly always your face angle minus your club path. The reason addition is in there is because sometimes when you take a positive number minus a negative number, it contradicts itself. We'll kind of get into it, but for a ball to end straight of where you want it in relation to target, you need that face to path number to get to 0. So let's show you a few different examples and work through it together. This one, it's not getting difficult yet, don't worry. When you have a club path of 0, a face to target or a face angle of 0, your face to path is obviously going to be 0. So that's going to look super straightforward. The club comes in straight, no spin on the ball, and it leaves dead straight. But if only we could all hit golf shots just like that, I wouldn't need to make a video like this. But that's not the case because golf gets confusing sometimes. You don't always hit it how you want to. So let's look at the first example where we have a club path of 10 degrees right or positive 10. Our face to target or face angle is going to be open 5 degrees, so 5 degrees right, or positive 5. So that's going to create a face to path of 5 degrees left, or negative 5. But you might be thinking, well, Mike, how does that work? Because if I have a club path of 10 degrees right and a face angle the same right, wouldn't you add those two? Well, because the rule is face angle or face to target minus club path, when you take positive 5 minus positive 10, you actually get, negative 5. 5 minus 10 is negative 5. So the TrackMan rule is face to path is just where the face is pointed in relation to the target. So because your club path is 10 degrees right, your face angle is still right, but it's not as far right as the club path. That's why our face to path is left. Both numbers are still to the right, but since your face to target or face angle is not as far right as your club path, that's why it becomes a number to the left or a negative number. So let's look at what the club and ball do with these certain data points. So we have our club come in from the bottom. That is representing our club path. And then the face angle or face to target is where you can see that that club is open, or the ball is kind of presented towards the heel side. The club kind of looks like that. So it's 5 degrees right or open in this case. And like I said, the face to path becomes a negative number or a left number because it's not as, the face isn't as far right as your club path. So let's take a look at what the ball does when it leaves the face in this instance. Its spin axis is off to the right, as well as its start line is off to the right. So this exact shot would be called, I guess, a push fade or a push slice. And I think I forgot to point out earlier in the video, so I'm kind of doing stats based on like FlightScope and TrackMan, GC Quad, those kind of things, but FlightScope and TrackMan measure these data points a little bit differently, and both have a benefit and both have a con. So FlightScope doesn't use a positive or negative number. They use lefts and rights, which is way easier when you're not diving into the specifics of it because you can know your lefts and rights very, very easily. Well, TrackMan measures it with a negative and a positive number, because if you have a positive face to path, the ball is ending up right of target regardless of your dexterity. So if you're right-handed and you have a positive face to path number, you're hitting a slice or a fade. And if you have a right face to path as a left-handed golfer, you're hitting a draw or hook. So I almost prefer TrackMan's measurement of this, as long as you understand that positive will always mean right and negative will always mean left. Because it's way easier to do the math when you're taking negatives and positives to put into a calculator versus lefts and rights. A calculator doesn't know what a left and right is, but it knows what positive and negative numbers are. So now that that's kind of out of the way, let's get into this next slide. We have a club path of 10 degrees right. We have a face angle or face to target of 5 degrees left. So what does that mean for our face to path? Well, because face angle is a negative number, a left number, so -5, -5, we have to subtract the club path from our face to target. So -5 minus +10 comes out to be a -15. So a 15-degree left face to path. Let's take a look at what the club and ball do with those data parameters. So club comes in 10 degrees right, but this time we have a closed face of 5 degrees left. So what's going to happen? This one is set up much more for a draw. So our ball is going to leave spinning on a left axis because our face is closed. We'll get into spin axis in another video, but let's take one more look at how that ball leaves. Its start line is still going up, and that is dictated from our club path. But the spin is towards the left because the face is closed. So this one is going to just be a draw shot shape, going to start a little bit right of target, and it's going to draw back to center. Let's move on to the next example here, where we have a 10-degree left club path, or -10 in TrackMan's terminology. Our face angle or face to target is 5 degrees left, or -5 in TrackMan's terminology. So let's get our calculators out. We take -5 minus -10. What happens when you subtract a negative number from a negative number? For some crazy reason of math, it goes to a positive. So now we have a face to path of +5, or 5 degrees right. Well, why is that? It's because our face is less left than our club path. So the face is still left. Don't get me wrong, it's still 5 degrees left, but it's not as far left as the club path. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense to me, but I've been doing this for so long that I hope I explained that as well as I can. That's what the club looks like when we have a 10-degree left club path and our face is closed 5 degrees left. So this is just going to be a massive like snap hook, essentially. It's going to be a pull hook would be the shot shape on this one. Let's look at what the ball does when it leaves the face this time. Okay, notice that the face angle is controlling that spin to be on a leftward axis. Let's take a look one more time. And that ball is starting on a left line due to having such a aggressive 10-degree left club path. Okay, let's move into the next slide. I think this is our last one. I don't know. Club path, 10 degrees left or -10. Face to target, 5 degrees right or +5. So what does that mean for our face to path? Well, again, now that we have to take a positive number and we're subtracting a negative number, we get more positive. Again, weird rules of math, but our face to path is now 15 degrees right or +15 for TrackMan terminology. Now, why is that? Our face to target is more right than our club path. And in this example, our club path isn't right at all. It's left. So that's why the face to path becomes 15 degrees right, because our face to target, our face angle is way more right than the club path. So let's take a look at the example of what the club looks like. Coming in from the top like this with a wide open face, This is probably the most common average golfer sort of swing. You're coming over the top at it with an open face, and that's going to create a slice. So what does the ball look like when we slice it? A lot of you guys are probably familiar with that. The ball leaves spinning on a rightward axis, but since your club path was so far left, it starts out left of target, and then it's going to slice back over to the right. So to summarize, face angle minus club path equals your face to path. So let's actually jump back to this slide right here. This is my favorite way to educate or explain face to path, because your face to path is left in this instance because you got to take your face to target or face angle minus your club path, but your face angle is not as far right as your club path. Of course, it's still right. It's still right. Your face angle is still open or right to target, but it's not as aggressive as your club path was. So that's why technically your face is left of your path, which is face to path of 5 degrees left. So if you want, drop me a like, hit the subscribe button. I do really like making this educational content. Until next time, have a good one.